Motorcycle dealerships across the United States are stuck with trikes that just will not sell, no matter how much they try to push them. From awkward designs to excessive weight and sky-high prices, these three-wheelers are gathering dust. Today, we are counting down the 14 trike motorcycles nobody is buying. Number 14. HarleyDavidson Freewheeler. A stripped-down trike that seemed like a good idea until it hit the showroom. The Freewheeler was designed to be a lightweight and minimalistic three-wheeler, but it lacks the essential touring features that most riders expect from Harley-Davidson. This trike runs on the Milwaukee 8 114V twin engine, delivering 121 horsepower and 121 pound-feet of torque. With a displacement of 1,868 cubic centimeters, it has enough power to move confidently on the road. However, the Freewheeler's design misses the mark when it comes to wind protection and comfort. Despite its stripped-down appeal, it weighs just over 1,250 pounds, making it far from the lightest in its category. The trike features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, combined with a basic suspension setup that struggles to absorb road imperfections during long rides. Its simple bare-bones look might appeal to some, but most older riders find it too minimal for serious touring. The lack of a front fairing means enduring long stretches of wind, and the basic seat design fails to provide adequate comfort over extended trips. What makes matters worse is the pricing. The Freewheeler starts at $29,999, which is a steep price for a bike with minimal touring amenities. Older Harley-Davidson enthusiasts often feel that they are paying more for less. The Freewheeler's minimalistic design makes it difficult for dealerships to market it as either premium or practical, leaving it stuck in showrooms across the country. If you think this stripped-down trike is a tough sell, wait until you see the next one. A bulky beast that defies common sense. Number 13. Harley-Davidson Road Glide 3. When comfort meets weight, not every rider wins. The Road Glide 3 was introduced as a bold attempt to merge touring comfort with a three-wheel design, promising the rugged reliability Harley-Davidson is known for. Equipped with the Milwaukee 8 114V twin engine, it produces 121 horsepower and 121 pound-feet of torque with a displacement of 1,868 cubic centimeters. On paper, these specs seem more than enough for a comfortable long-distance ride, but in practice, they reveal the bike's most significant challenge: its massive weight. Weighing in at 1,286 pounds, the Road Glide 3 features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, offering reliable stopping power despite its bulk. The suspension setup includes telescopic front forks and a premium adjustable rear suspension aimed at managing the trike's weight while maintaining a smooth ride. However, the combination of weight and a relatively basic suspension system makes the bike less adaptable on rough roads and uneven surfaces. This heavy build causes the trike to feel unsteady during long rides, making comfort more of a promise than a reality. At a starting price of $32,999, many buyers find it hard to justify choosing the Road Glide 3 over other touring trikes that offer more balance and comfort. Despite its commanding presence and the iconic Harley-Davidson styling, its sheer size and cumbersome handling make it less appealing for riders seeking a dependable, easy-to-handle touring machine. This heavy hitter may dominate the road, but for riders it's a struggle just to keep it balanced. Up next, a trike that went all out on power but forgot practicality. Number 12. Harley-Davidson CV Triglide. Luxury, power, and exclusivity do not always guarantee success. The Harley-Davidson CV Triglide was introduced as the pinnacle of three-wheeled touring luxury, combining high performance with premium aesthetics. At its core, the Triglide features the Milwaukee 8 117V twin engine, which delivers 125 horsepower and 126 pound-feet of torque. The engine has a displacement of 1,923 cubic centimeters, making it one of the most powerful production V-twins from Harley-Davidson. On paper, it seems like the ultimate highway machine, but the reality is far more complex. The Triglide weighs in at over 1,200 pounds, making it a formidable presence on the road. It is equipped with dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, all featuring an anti-lock braking system to enhance safety during long-distance cruising. The suspension setup is built to handle the Trike's weight, offering rear shocks tuned for a plush, stable ride. Despite these features, many riders find the Triglide cumbersome and challenging to handle, especially in slow-moving traffic or tight spaces. One of the most significant drawbacks of the CVO Triglide is its price tag. With a starting price of $54,900, it enters the realm of high-end touring motorcycles. Yet, despite its premium position, it lacks significant improvements over less expensive models. The Triglide's flashy aesthetic, including custom paint and exclusive badges, does not justify the hefty cost for most practical riders. It might have been designed to turn heads, but most buyers are just turning away. Next, a trike that packs a punch. Maybe too much of one. We're just getting started with this list. Make sure to stick around to see which trike made it to the top spot. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe for more motorcycle insights. Number 11. Hos V8 Trike, a monstrous engine that is more trouble than it is worth. The Hos V8 Trike takes power to an extreme level, boasting a massive V8 engine that delivers over 400 horsepower and more than 450 pound-feet of torque. The engine has a displacement of 5,700 cubic centimeters, which is entirely unheard of in the motorcycle world. With such formidable specs, one would think it would dominate the highway. Instead, it often ends up being too much bike for most riders to handle. The Hos tips the scales at over 1,300 pounds, making it one of the heaviest trikes available. It is equipped with dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc to manage all that weight, but the stopping distance is still noticeably longer than other trikes in its class. The suspension setup, while robust, struggles to manage the sheer mass of the machine, making tight turns and low-speed maneuvers particularly challenging. The rear-wheel drive and stretched-out frame further compromise stability, especially when riding on uneven surfaces. Designed more like a car than a motorcycle, the Hos does not deliver the nimble, connected feel that many traditional riders crave. Its immense power and aggressive design appeal more to enthusiasts looking for an adrenaline rush than to practical touring riders. One of the biggest issues with the Hos V8 Trike is its impracticality. Starting at $65,000, it is priced higher than many touring motorcycles, but without offering the everyday usability that most riders need. And if raw power is not enough to impress, wait until you see the trike that went in the opposite direction. So little power, it can barely move. Number 10. Honda Goldwing Roadsmith Trike Conversion, a touring legend that lost its balance. The Honda Goldwing Roadsmith Trike Conversion was supposed to be the ultimate three-wheeled touring machine. Built on the renowned Goldwing platform, this trike features a flat-six engine with a displacement of 1,832 cubic centimeters. It delivers 125 horsepower and 129 pound-feet of torque, offering robust performance for long-distance cruising. However, the transformation from two to three wheels didn't come without its issues. This trike conversion tips the scales at nearly 1,250 pounds, making it a heavyweight contender in the touring trike market. The suspension, designed for smooth highway rides, struggles when handling the increased mass, especially during slow-speed maneuvers. The rear suspension is independent, aiming to enhance comfort, but the overall feel is still clunky and less agile compared to factory-built trikes. Braking duties are managed by dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, providing reliable stopping power despite the hefty build. The challenge with the Goldwing trike conversion lies not just in its weight, but also in its handling. Riders report that parking lot navigation and slow turns feel more like wrestling a small car than gliding on a motorcycle. The added body panels and wide rear axle further contribute to its cumbersome feel. Then comes the price factor. Starting with a base model that costs between $15,000 and $22,000, the cost skyrockets once the conversion kit, paint, labor, and accessories are added, often landing between $45,000 and $50,000. From too bulky to too basic, the next trike proves that simplicity doesn't always mean success. Number 9. Reweo RF1 GT. Looks like a supercar but rides like a headache. The Reweo RF1 GT is one of those trikes that grabs attention with its futuristic styling and European flair, but it fails to deliver a satisfying ride. Powered by a turbocharged inline-4 engine with a displacement of 1,331 cubic centimeters, it cranks out 170 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. On paper, it sounds like a powerhouse, but the reality is far less impressive for traditional trike enthusiasts. The RF1 GT's design focuses heavily on performance, with a 7-speed automatic transmission that includes paddle shifters, making it feel more like a sports car than a motorcycle. Weighing in at just over 1,150 pounds, it is relatively lighter than some American trikes, but the problem lies in its unconventional setup. The front suspension features dual telescopic forks, while the rear utilizes an independent swing arm aiming to balance stability and agility. Dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc provide confident stopping power. However, the complex engineering makes maintenance a nightmare, as parts are hard to come by outside of Europe. The trike's handling is its biggest downfall. The combination of car-like controls and a stiff suspension makes it difficult for older riders to feel connected to the road. Another major drawback is the price. Starting at $35,000 and climbing higher with optional accessories, it competes with Harley-Davidson and Indian trikes that offer more familiarity and resale value. Despite its high-performance specs, the RF1 GT's overly sporty nature and complicated maintenance have left it gathering dust in showrooms. Flashy and futuristic isn't everyone's taste. Coming up, a trike that blends American heritage with an identity crisis. Number 8. Indian Roadmaster Trike Conversion, a trusted tourer that became a clumsy heavyweight. The Indian Roadmaster has long been revered as one of the most comfortable and reliable touring motorcycles in the market. Equipped with the Thunderstroke V twin engine, it produces 122 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque. With a displacement of 1,811 cubic centimeters, this engine is known for its smooth power delivery and long-distance capability. However, when converted into a trike, the Roadmaster loses much of its original appeal. The problem begins with the weight. After conversion, the Roadmaster trike tips the scales at over 1,350 pounds, making it one of the heaviest trikes in its class. This excessive weight significantly impacts its handling, especially during low-speed maneuvers and tight turns. The trike features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, which help manage the bulk, but stopping power feels compromised due to the added mass. The suspension system, which was originally designed for a two-wheeled setup, struggles to compensate for the additional weight, leading to a less stable and more uncomfortable ride. One of the most frustrating aspects for buyers is the cost. The base Roadmaster already starts at well over $30,000. Adding a quality trike conversion kit, professional installation, and necessary upgrades can push the total price past $50,000. At that range, potential buyers often consider factory-built trikes that offer better support and resale value. For those seeking reliable touring, this trike just doesn't cut it. Next up, a European oddity that baffles American riders. Number 7. Boom Trikes Fighter. Engineered to impress but too quirky to succeed. The Boom Trikes Fighter is a European import that tries to combine motorcycle spirit with automotive flair. Its inline-4 engine, boasting 120 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque, has a displacement of 1,131 cubic centimeters. On paper, it seems like a performance-oriented trike designed to stand out from the crowd. However, it quickly becomes apparent that the Fighter's unique design does not resonate with traditional riders, especially older bikers who prefer classic styling and intuitive controls. One of the most divisive aspects of the Boom Trikes Fighter is its car-like controls. Instead of the usual motorcycle layout, the trike has foot pedals, center-mounted gauges, and flat handlebars, giving it the feel of a go-kart rather than a touring machine. This unconventional setup makes the riding experience uncomfortable for those accustomed to traditional motorcycle ergonomics. Moreover, the trike's low-slung chassis and wide body make it difficult to maneuver in tight spaces. The trike weighs in at over 1,100 pounds, which, combined with its unconventional balance, makes slow-speed handling particularly challenging. It features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, with a suspension system optimized for straight-line cruising rather than agile handling. Adding to the headache, parts availability in the United States is minimal. Most components have to be specially ordered from Europe, and finding a technician familiar with the model can be next to impossible. With a starting price above $30,000, it's simply too much of a risk for most potential buyers. When styling overshadows practicality, riders steer clear. Next, a classic gone wrong. Number 6. Victory Cross-Country Trike Conversion. After Victory shut down, the remaining trike conversions are struggling to find buyers. Without factory support, new parts, or dealership assistance, the cross-country trike has become a gamble for anyone considering a purchase. At the heart of this trike is a V-twin engine with a displacement of 1,731 cubic centimeters. It produces 104 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque, which on paper sounds like a reliable long-distance touring setup. However, once converted into a trike, the handling becomes noticeably stiff, especially at low speeds. The weight of the trike also becomes a major issue. Tipping the scales at over 1,300 pounds, it feels cumbersome when maneuvering through parking lots or taking tight corners. The braking system consists of dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, but even with this setup, the stopping power feels underwhelming given the bike's bulk. The suspension, originally designed for a two-wheeler, fails to adequately compensate for the added mass and altered balance, resulting in a harsh and jarring ride. One of the most significant drawbacks of the Victory Cross-Country Trike conversion is its lack of long-term support. Since Victory as a brand no longer exists, finding replacement parts or specialized service has become increasingly difficult. Most buyers are hesitant to invest in a motorcycle that has no guaranteed future in terms of maintenance or resale value. With a price range between $16,000 and $20,000, it sits in a precarious position in the market, where other, more reliable options are available. When brand loyalty fades, so does interest. Coming up, a trike that went retro and got left behind. Number 5. Pagio MP3500. 3 wheels, but not much stability. The Pagio MP3500 is a unique trike that attempts to combine the agility of a scooter with the stability of a 3-wheeled motorcycle. However, its leaning trike design does not resonate well with traditional riders, especially those accustomed to the stability of more conventional trikes. The MP3500 is powered by a single-cylinder engine with a displacement of 493 cubic centimeters. It produces around 44 horsepower and 33 pound-feet of torque. While adequate for city commuting, these numbers fall short when attempting to cruise on highways, where more power and torque are necessary for confident overtaking and sustained speeds. The trike's weight is just under 600 pounds, which sounds light compared to other models, but it is still heavy for a scooter-style bike. The braking system features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, designed to manage urban stops rather than long-distance touring. The suspension setup is modest, with telescopic forks at the front and a twin shock system at the rear. Unfortunately, this combination struggles on uneven surfaces, and the ride becomes uncomfortable on longer journeys. Price is another deterrent. Starting at around $9,500, the MP3500 is considered too expensive for what essentially feels like a large 3-wheeled scooter. Traditional motorcycle enthusiasts often dismiss it as being too niche and lacking the rugged appeal that draws older American riders. In the world of trikes, it falls short of expectations, especially for those who want more than just a novelty machine. Next, a trike from a respected brand that missed the mark. Number 4. HarleyDavidson Softtail Convertible Trike Conversion. A classic cruiser turned trike, but did it lose its identity in the process? The Softtail Convertible Trike conversion takes the beloved Softtail and transforms it into a 3-wheeler. While it retains the signature Harley styling, the added bulk from the trike kit makes it feel heavy and sluggish compared to its 2-wheeled counterpart. At the heart of this trike is the Milwaukee 8114 V twin engine, producing 121 horsepower and 121 pound-feet of torque. With a displacement of 1,868 cubic centimeters, it promises plenty of power for cruising. However, the transition from a traditional cruiser to a trike introduces challenges that affect its performance and appeal. The added rear axle changes the bike's balance, making it harder to maneuver through tight corners or at low speeds. Riders accustomed to the agile feel of the Softtail may find the trike version awkward and cumbersome. The overall weight of the Softtail convertible trike conversion comes in around 1,270 pounds. It features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, providing adequate stopping power despite the increased mass. The suspension setup, however, struggles to maintain stability, especially when carrying a passenger or additional cargo. The bike's center of gravity feels significantly higher than the original Softtail, making quick directional changes more challenging. While the conversion aims to maintain comfort, the ride can feel bouncy and unpredictable, particularly on uneven roads. Pricing for the Softtail convertible trike conversion typically starts at around $32,000, depending on the specific kit and installation choices. This hefty price, combined with the compromised ride quality, makes it a tough sell for many longtime Harley enthusiasts. Turning a classic cruiser into a trike sounds great, until you realize it lost the ride quality in the process. Now let's shift to a trike that's more of a novelty than a necessity. Number 3. Yamaha Nikon GT. A leaning three-wheeler that confuses more than it excites. The Yamaha Nikon GT was designed to bring sport touring dynamics to the world of trikes, but its complex design and unconventional aesthetics have made it a tough sell. At its core, the Nikon GT features an 847 cubic centimeter inline triple engine, delivering 115 horsepower and 64 pound-feet of torque. The Nikon GT's most notable feature is its leaning multi-wheel technology, which uses two front wheels that lean into corners like a traditional motorcycle. While this setup offers superior front-end grip and stability, it also makes the bike visually unusual and heavier than expected. Many riders struggle to connect with the trike's feel, finding it more cumbersome than a standard two-wheeler and less intuitive to handle. Weighing approximately 677 pounds, the Nikon GT is lighter than most trikes, but significantly heavier than comparable two-wheeled sport tourers. The braking system features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, which work well given the bike's weight, but the additional front wheel complexity makes maintenance more demanding. The suspension uses telescopic forks in the front and a rear monoshock, providing a balanced but somewhat firm ride, especially when carrying a passenger or gear. Priced at $16,499, the Nikon GT sits in a niche that many riders find hard to justify. It lacks the classic appeal of a cruiser and the lightweight agility of a sport bike, leaving it caught between two worlds. Its high price and polarizing design mean it appeals to a very limited audience, and dealers continue to struggle to find buyers who appreciate this experimental concept. Now, let's talk about a trike that blends heritage with modernity, but still fails to capture the hearts of seasoned riders. Number 2. Eural CT Trike, a Russian import that struggles on American roads. The Eural CT Trike is known for its rugged, old-school appeal, but that charm quickly fades when it hits modern highways. Designed with a nostalgic look and a utilitarian vibe, the CT Trike might catch the eye of riders looking for something different. However, once on the road, its limitations become glaringly apparent. Powering this trike is a single-cylinder air-cooled engine with a displacement of 749 cubic centimeters. It produces a modest 41 horsepower and 42 pound-feet of torque, which simply falls short of the power needed for comfortable highway cruising. Riders often find that merging onto interstates or maintaining speeds of 65 miles per hour is a challenge, especially when carrying a passenger or luggage. The trike setup features dual front disc brakes and a single rear drum brake paired with telescopic front forks and twin-sided swing-arm rear suspension. Weighing in at just over 730 pounds, the CT Trike is relatively light compared to other three-wheelers, but that does not compensate for its lack of power. While the classic styling might appeal to vintage enthusiasts, the ride quality leaves much to be desired. The handling feels outdated and the brakes can feel underpowered during sudden stops. Priced at around $17,500, the Eural CT Trike is not exactly a bargain considering its limited capabilities. The bike's appeal lies more in its vintage look than its practicality on the road. While some riders might appreciate its rustic feel and rugged design, most will find it impractical for modern riding needs. And last but not least, Number 1. Harley-Davidson Triglide Ultra. Luxury, power, and exclusivity were supposed to make this trike a winner, but it missed the mark. The Triglide Ultra was introduced as the ultimate touring trike for Harley-Davidson enthusiasts. Packed with features and aimed at long-distance riders, it promised comfort, style, and power. However, reality fell short of expectations, especially given its hefty price tag. Under the classic touring exterior, the Triglide Ultra houses the Milwaukee 8 117V twin engine, delivering 125 horsepower and 126 pound-feet of torque. The engine displacement is 1,923 cubic centimeters, giving it enough muscle to handle long stretches of highway. On paper, it seems like the perfect engine for touring, but the real issue lies in how the power translates to the road. The trike weighs a hefty 1,243 pounds, making it one of the heaviest in its category. Its braking system features dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, all equipped with anti-lock braking system for safer stops. The suspension consists of telescopic front forks and a dual adjustable rear suspension, which helps manage the bike's weight but still struggles with comfort on rough terrain. Priced at $54,900, the Triglide Ultra is nearly double the cost of some other touring trikes, and yet it fails to justify that premium. While it boasts exclusive paint jobs, limited edition badges, and a few luxury upgrades, the overall package feels excessive rather than purposeful. Traditional Harley riders who appreciate subtlety and practical performance find the Triglide Ultra too flashy and cumbersome. Thanks for riding along as we counted down the trikes that just aren't hitting the mark. Which one surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos.